slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, staying solid to this G code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, staying solid to this G code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never change.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment.
What's good, G Life? Well, you're in for a treat. Grab your popcorn, your pistol, your blunt, your beer, whatever you want, homie. Kick back, and pop it open, puff it up, while we break it down right here. Now, we're going to be covering several areas in today's video. We're going to be bouncing around from location to location, covering every Heights neighborhood. Now, the Heights neighborhoods are, tend to be old barrios already that have already been in this community for a long time, who have respect and, people are, they're recognized amongst the community. So with no further ado, let's get into it right here. Now, to start it all off, we're going to be covering one of the most oldest ones, when we're talking about Heights barrio, probably one of the most oldest Heights neighborhood, on the list. And for this one, we actually have to make our way to the Nella/East Side portion of Los Angeles, to the area that is known as Lincoln Heights. Lincoln Heights, the LXHTS or LHTS, not to be confused with Logan Heights. I could see why people would get him confused. Logan tends to write, LH or LHTS. Sometimes they do write the X in there. It's rare. But the Lincoln Heights neighborhood, you roughly see it more always with the LXHTS, or you sometimes do see it, LHTS. But 9 times out of 10, you'll see the X in there, to separate them from the Logan, because, you can see where the confusion will lie. Now, the barrio Lincoln Heights is an old community within Los Angeles in general. Like, we're leaving all the gang stuff to the side. This is one of its oldest pueblos, pues, its oldest communities. The barrio Lincoln Heights has been said to have been around since the 1910s. 1910, my boy. That's already a long time it's been here. One of the oldest barrios, within Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, here's a fun fact. This barrio was actually started by Irish. They had Irish, Jewish, Italian, Russians, and, Hispanics. With the times and, people moving, gentrification, families coming in, and then poverty, with the mixture of everything, you get different, sets of, races that land there. So it did become overall more of a Hispanic gang. But it does have, other, ethnic groups to it. You know what I mean? So their OGs are, Irish, Italian, Jewish, Hispanics, you get what I mean? Whites, so because obviously those were the founders of the neighborhood, because people have to keep it in mind. Back then, immigrants were considered, everybody equally, like meaning Irish, Italian, you know what I mean? Everybody was getting mistreated by these, so-called, Americans that thought that they were superior and this was, their land, and anybody else that came from other places or spoke a different language wasn't welcome there. So everybody was getting mistreated equally. It wasn't just blacks or Hispanics, but it was, over the board equally. So you can see where, these problems will start. So everybody was pretty much, experiencing, some form of racism, why these groups banded together, to back each other up because they're coming from the same community, going through the same, problems, so therefore, they created these groups to protect themselves, because obviously they couldn't go to law enforcement because law enforcement wasn't helping them as well. They pretty much were left on their own, you know what I mean? So they had to do what they had to do. Now, the barrio Lincoln Heights, obviously, through the years, it has changed, these old families moved out, new Hispanic families moved in, so now it's mostly Hispanic neighborhood, but still does have other ethnicities in its gang, you know what I mean? And sometimes what you see is still right, like the 3-leaf clover, the shamrocks, and everything like that, paying homage to their roots and stuff like that. Now, their barrio is everything, because their barrio is pretty extensive. I would say their barrio is pretty much, almost all of Lincoln Heights, by Lincoln Park as well as their domain. So you can find them throughout Griffin Avenue, throughout Avenue 26. You can find them throughout Avenue 28, Avenue 30, Avenue 32, 33, all the way to Avenue 35. So I would say their territory is everything from Avenue 35 all the way to Broadway, from where the freeway's at, and all the way to, I would have to say their turf still extends all the way to Gillen Avenue. So that's a pretty much, gigantic amount of turf, almost all of Lincoln Heights. And this is a large neighborhood, you know what I mean? Don't get it twisted, although you may not see them like hit up as much as like some of these other gangs, is because people have to keep it in mind that these are some old barrios, and old barrios have old traditions to them, and not every neighborhood just likes to be like tagging and stuff like that. You get what I mean? Some neighborhoods are just old school minded, so that's why you may not see the graffiti as much as some of these other gangs, but that doesn't mean that the gangs are not there. You know what I mean? Because they will get it on and cracking. You know what I mean? From north of Broadway to south of Delhi to Avenue 26 to Humboldt, Avenue 33rd, Griffin Avenue, all of that, from, Johnston, Clifton, Thomas Street, all of that is a territory. And it's broken up into sub-cliques, you know what I mean? Because they do have cliques. You have like the Parkside Locals, the PSLs. You have the 28th Streets. You have the Thomas Streets. You have the Workman Streets. You have the SSS clica. You have several, clicas from this barrio. So, this neighborhood does get it on and cracking. One of, Los Angeles' one of its oldest neighborhoods, you know what I mean? It's definitely up there, was involved in the suits and everything like that. Like, these guys were the, some of the pioneers. But that's what's up with the barrio. Lincoln Heights right there representing. Shout out to the homie Joker. Gracias, my boy, for all the info and everything. I appreciate it, my boy. Rest in peace to Payaso. And shout out to everybody in Lincoln. For the next barrio on the list, this is a barrio that I've gotten, a lot of people in the comments, saying that I'm making this up, that it's a lie, that's not true, and whoopty wah. I do get it that some people just don't understand and don't get it. But this is a real neighborhood. I'm not making nothing up. There's real motherfuckers from this neighborhood that really do hold it down. I do understand that it's a barrio that you don't hear about as much as, some of these other gangs around the area. But nonetheless, it's a real neighborhood, that have been right here for a long time already doing this. You know what I'm saying? Which is the barrio Boyle Heights. That's that BHTS. Yes, Barrio Boyle Heights is a real gang. Now, even though it's not Boyle Heights, because people hear the name Boyle Heights and they automatically assume that it must be the original gang here, the oldest. But that's not the case. It's not as old as like White Fence or some of these other gangs within this area. You know what I mean? But don't get it twisted. They have their members and they've been doing this thing. Now, at one point back in the days, they were deep. You know what I mean? They were large, roughly around the 60s, 70s. They were, they had numbers to them. Now, through the years going by, new gangs started popping up, and all of that. So it just makes, recruitment more difficult and et cetera, stuff like that. Their homies getting busted. There's a lot of factors that play into, why the numbers, tend to dim down. But don't get it twisted. Don't take nothing from them. They're a real motherfucking neighborhood that handle real things. You know what I mean? The Barrio Boyle Heights is not playing. And I do recognize that, that the guy, jacket, the iron jacket or whatever, the tatted down guy, this was the neighborhood that he was claiming, but I was told that he was just claiming it. He's not an actual member. So before people want to bring up all that stuff in the comments, that's not my neighborhood for me to be speaking on that. I did hear that those were all just made up statements, but it is what it is. Because these guys have real homies that handle the real things from their barrio. These guys ain't no chumps. They're the real deal, and they still continue to represent for them in that Boyle Heights. Don't ever get it twisted. The Boyle Heights neighborhood is still active and they're still doing their thing. Now, for the next neighborhood, we actually have to make our way down to the Los Angeles portion of LA. The danger zone, the land where so many different neighborhoods and people hear about this area by the Echo Park, MacArthur Park area. It's where we're able to find, one of Los Angeles' oldest communities. which is the Angelino Heights, right there by Dodger Stadium. All of that area was considered, Angelino Heights before they, demolished most of the homes right there to build Dodger Stadium. Barrios that were there was like Alpine Street. You know what I mean? Now, through the years, roughly around the 1960s, a new barrio came up, which is the barrio AHTS, which is the barrio Angelino Heights. Now, I'm here to, clear up the misconception about the Angelino Heights gang. Even though people say that they're not active no more, they died out, they weren't a real gang. All of this is false information. It's all lies. It is a real gang. They haven't died out. They haven't gone nowhere. And people can't tell me what I seen with my own eyes. My boy, I seen it with my own eyes. They ain't gonna tell me that the neighborhood's not active and they ain't around when I know what I seen with my own eyes. They were deep. You know what I mean? So it's just a bunch of people that like to hate on the gangs. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are just gonna talk just for the simple fact of talking. But from the pictures and all you guys can see, I mean, they're very much alive. Despite what people are gonna want to say, and you can find them scattered throughout the whole Angelino Heights area, throughout the back streets. People have even said that they're, the different gangs have took over, and all of this is just a bunch of, you already know, when someone doesn't like a neighborhood, they're gonna want to bash them and just try to stain their name. You know what I mean? But those who really know, you know what I mean? People can't tell me that I hallucinated or everything. Now, apart from this gang being here in the Angelino Heights area, where it originated, where it started, where its roots, throughout the back alleys and all of that, where they still continue to be. Another area that it's located in is in Northern California, in the Santa Rosa area, by the South Park community. Is where you're able to find the Angelino Heights in Santa Rosa. They are one of Northern California's largest upstate Sureño gangs, because they're not just located there, but in several other places like Stockton as well. So it is one of upstate Sureño's largest Sureño gang, the Angelino Heights, and it is the same one as the ones from down here. And this is where they originated from. You have homies that were from down here that move over there, they recruit, and well, you guys see where I'm going with the story. They blow up in numbers. So not just in Northern Cali, but obviously they still have a presence here in their original home grounds. So people are gonna want to say this and that. My boy, it's all false. This gang is more than alive. You know what I mean? It hasn't gone nowhere. I see that people, tend to leave them out of conversations and stuff like that. But like you already know, I'm not here to brag, make up, throw extra tapatio on the caldo. My boy, I'm only here to tell you how it is, homie. I know vatos, they like to make up all kinds of shit. My boy, I ain't got time for that, homie. I'm only here to spit the facts. Those are the facts. Haters love it. It is what it is. But that's what's up with the Angelino Heights neighborhood. Now, for the next barrio on the list, we actually have to make our way to the area of the SGV. You already know the SGV is home to one of these Heights gang, which is located right here in Hacienda Heights. Hacienda Heights is known as the Hacienda Heights Barrio 13. Now, this is an interesting story to this neighborhood because although the barrio is called Hacienda Heights Barrio 13, this is not where it originated from. This barrio actually comes from Orange County, one of Orange County's old neighborhoods, from La Habra, from that part of the area of Orange County. That's where they originated from, where they started and had been around since the 60s, you know what I mean? 50s, 60s when that neighborhood was there. And then they had homies that were there that moved to the SGV, to right here, to Hacienda Heights. Now, when they came down here, Barrio 13, there was a group already of vatos that were barely starting up, right? Whose name was the Hacienda Heights Boys, right? So then these barrios decided to merge into one barrio, Hacienda Heights Barrio 13. And that was the name of the barrio. That is what, the neighborhood, the name of the neighborhood. With time passing by, there was a tag banging crew that was coming up. People often think that this is its own separate gang, it's its own solo gang and stuff like that because, they were making their way up, which is a barrio, which was a clica EBS, I think it was Eternal Brown Soldiers. And, so they were on their way to become a neighborhood, and then through the process they just decided to merge to the Hacienda Barrio 13, becoming the Hacienda Barrio 13 EBS. So it's just one neighborhood. It's not that the gangs clicked up. That's not what I'm talking about here. The gangs merged into just becoming one gang. So it's not that they're separate gangs and just clicked up. It merged to be one whole gang. That's why it managed to be as big as it is, or it got as big as it is because it was a merger of all those neighborhoods coming together, to form this, this neighborhood, which is located throughout all of Hacienda Heights, throughout Tiddly Street, throughout Hacienda Boulevard to where the 60 freeway is at, all the way to Turnbull Canyon Road. So everything in the middle is considered a barrio, and everything around Manzanita Parque, right there on Kiwi Avenue, on Blazing Star Drive, throughout Los Robles Avenue, throughout Newton Street, all of that was considered the barrio 13 Hacienda Heights. You know what I mean? So it's not that EBS is his own separate gang and Barrio 3 is his own gang and Hacienda Heights is his own gang. No. People got it twisted. It's all one gang. Sometimes you do just see it hit up Hacienda Heights. Sometimes you do see it just hit up Barrio 3. Sometimes you do see it just hit up EBS. But it's all one gang. So it's not separate gangs. It's all one united gang. But that's what's up with the Hacienda Heights Barrio 13. Now for the next neighborhood on the list. Now right here it starts to get a little bit complicated, but bear with me when it comes to this area, which is the area of Rowland Heights. Now, even I have gotten this confused. You know what I mean? So pretty much how it goes down is that Rowland Heights is home to 3 different gangs. Well, Hispanic. You have Asian gangs and black gangs, but we're talking, strictly Hispanic gangs. And all these Hispanic gangs claim Rowland Heights. But they're not connected. As a matter of fact, they don't even get along with each other. All 3 gangs have beef. They're pretty much fighting for who gets to really say that they're the Rowland Heights neighborhood. Which they battle for the territory of Fullerton Road all the way to Colima Road all the way to Los Padres Drive, and from Los Padres Drive all the way to Pathfinder Road. So everything throughout that, it's what they're fighting for. Throughout Batson Avenue, where you can find these barrios, clashing and, and should be getting hectic, you know what I mean? Right there close to the golf course as well. She's no joke. So you have the Rowland Heights WID, which was a tag banging crew that became a neighborhood, which stands for Wicked Insane Diablos. You know what I mean? Wicked Insane Diablos. They have other meanings to it too. You know what I mean? But it's the WID. Now, apart from the WID, which was a tag banging crew that became into a neighborhood, it hasn't been around that long, but it got large in numbers. It was around from the 90s, early 2000s when it became a neighborhood. Roughly, I was told more than 80 members to it. So they have a strong presence. So that's them. And then you have the next one, which is the Rowland Heights Pocos Pero Locos. So that's RHPPLS, while the other one's WID. This is RHPPLS. Pocos Pero Locos is the oldest gang right here, the originators from this area of Rowland. Even though they are its oldest, they're not as big as WID is the biggest. But at one point they were the largest. But through time, homies getting busted. You already know how it works. Their numbers are not as what they once were. But they're still there, though, nonetheless. Don't get it twisted. They haven't gone nowhere, nothing like that. They still continue to represent right there for the Pocos Pero Locos, a real gang right there in the Rowland. Now, and the separate one, which this one is actually the newest one out of the 3, which was a tag crew tag bangers that became a hood, roughly around the same era as the WID neighborhood, which is the barrio RHG. RHG translating to Rowland Heights Gang or Rowland Heights Gangsters. Is what it's pretty much it's written down to. And this neighborhood, I was told, at least from what I was told, there's more than 65 members to it. Not as old school, roughly around the same time frame as WID, but nonetheless a real gang that has real homies that do real things for them, and all these 3 neighborhoods are not connected. They have pedos with each other. It gets on and cracking right here in Rowland Heights. But that's what's up with all those 3 Rowland Heights neighborhoods, because people do get them confused because they see that they all get tattooed, RH, Rowland Heights and all that, but they're different gangs. But that's what's up with the Rowland Heights right there. The Rowland Heights. Now, for the next barrio on the list, we actually have to slide on through to the area of SD, San Diego. Yes, San Diego is not only home to, the most recognizable one out of the 2, obviously. this is also a real neighborhood that often gets forgotten, due to the fact that people, when we're talking about Heights here, people tend to always think about Logan Heights, but Logan Heights is not the only Heights gang in SD. You get what I'm saying? Because you do have another Heights barrio right here, which is the barrio CT or CXT, different ways of seeing it up, which is a barrio City Heights, located obviously in City Heights. And it is known as the City Heights Juniors Gang. JR or Junior, as in junior, like you're a junior, it's a real barrio that has already been right here for a cool minute in the City Heights, area that they reside. They call home their dojo, their domain. And, although people wanted to say it's a fake gang or, it's a real neighborhood. You know what I mean? I never got to come on here and, be making up anything. They get it on and crack it. People have this misconception of, I guess, because due to the fact how City Heights looks. But how many times have I said right here? Don't ever judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean? I can't say it enough because that's the truth. I know people, when they think about gangs, they expect it to be like this broken down ghetto area with street lights falling over and cars on fire. And bro, you've been watching too many movies. That's not really how it goes down in the hood. Like the homie Hoodie from the Hood said, go subscribe to the channel. He said, the area don't make it the hood. The mentality makes it the hood. You get what I'm saying? So don't ever get it twisted. While you may think that it's all fine and dandy and lovely right here, you'll get your cap peeled back. You know what I'm saying? Because these neighborhoods handle business. And the Barrio Junior, likewise, City Heights Juniors Gang, been right there holding it down for their section of SD and continue to still represent and have numbers and still do their thing, a real gang still holding it down for the SD and for the Heights, And the next one on the list right here in SD, everyone already knows the name that's coming up, which is the Barrio Logan Heights. Now, I have covered Logan Heights already here several times within the G series, but we're going to do it a little bit different this time. The Barrio Logan Heights, obviously one of, SD's largest, most recognizable, neighborhoods, made the news several times, headlines for all kinds of this madre, obviously throughout the whole, Chicano Park, the whole Logan Heights area, because it's a massive gang, more than 900 members to the Logan Heights gang, with clicas in the San Fernando Valley. Yes, they have clicas in the San Fernando Valley in Van Nuys and North Hollywood. Like Booner Street and the Little Homies clicas. They have actual cliques. You know what I mean? Several. I think like 3 of them. Right here in the 818 with more than 110 members in the 818 Valley just alone. And so they're broken up into sub cliques, right? So you have clicas like the Red Steps, another well-recognized clique, of theirs. You know what I mean? The Red Steps ain't no joke. One of Logan's most, recognizable cliques as well. They've been doing it, obviously named after the iconic Red Steps, where they get their, their name from. That's their area, their domain, their dojo. And they've been putting it in. Then you have, the Logan's clique. Like that. It's just written like that, Logan's Clica, which is one of the more newer ones in the outskirts of Logan, and not only in the outskirts of Logan, but located out of state, you know what I mean, like in several other states like Washington and areas like that, where they have the Logan's Clica, you know what I mean, but it's all one gang, the Logan gang, and then you have like, obviously, like the 30s, you can find them throughout right there through those areas, one of their, more recognizable sub cliques, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Logan gang has a lot of cliques, and because they're a large neighborhood that's been doing it right here for the SD, you know what I'm saying? Very notorious, have a lot of documents and books and all of that to them. So this gang is, it ain't no joke. It's the real deal, Holyfield, you know what I mean? But shout out to all my homies in Logan. Got way too much to bust a roll call right here. I don't want to leave nobody out. So shout out to all the real ones out of Logan. You already know. And still holding it down right there for the Logan Heights gang.
Thank you for watching M.O.D Entertainment. Make sure you like and subscribe.